Well, they got a state title last year, but South Christian just can't get that elusive OK Gold title. Sailors' last conference crown coming back in 1994. They took a major step forward this year with last week's overtime win against Grand Rapids Catholic Central. Tonight, South taking on 4-2 Ottawa Hills over at Houseman Field. Midway through the third quarter, John Wassink going to roll right and find Taylor Meyering for the 4-yard score. Great footwork by Wassink. Sailors up big there, 33-0. Later in the third, Sean Nealon for Ottawa Hills, taking the handoff and finding the end zone. Bengals first scored the game there. Sailors still up, though, 34-6. 5 minutes remaining in the game. South Christian adds another score. That's not John Wassink. That's Ryan Veenstra taking the ball up for a 3-yard touchdown. South Christian, your winner in this one. Another big win going for that OK title. 41-19 the final. And to the OK Green, Byron Center hosting Unity Christian. Travis Baker coming at quarterback, and first play's a long one. 48 yards for the touchdown there in the third. Later, Baker doesn't have to go nearly as far this time. He's probably a little winded and could use a little bit of the break. He's going to dive in the end zone here on the short run. Get him up 35-14. And Baker, not just a runner, part of being a quarterback is you got to throw the thing too.
Dual threat.
Going to find Eric Chard behind the defense. Easy score. Even had to stop for it. Byron Center rolls in this one. 41-21.
Time to go back to our game of the week. We always talk about the OK White, the opposite of white, black. The OK Black has become one of the most competitive conferences this season with no less than 4 teams contending for the crown. 2 teams that could not afford another loss met in our game of the week. Zeeland East and Mona Shores. The Sailors also with the opportunity to qualify for the playoffs for the first time ever.
Ever?
Sailors strike first and often. Tyree Jackson. Asante Brown, committed to Western Michigan. Roll the boat. 32 yards. Score 6-0 second. Sailors possession. Don Shermetta taking it in from 9 yards out. Made it 12-0 Sailors. Still in the first, and the Sailors are still scoring. This time Jackson to his man Brown again from 20 yards out. Second quarter, Sailors. They like this scoring thing. They kept doing it. Jackson, the beautiful deep ball to Marquand Sargent. 57 yards, 26-0 Sailors. Still first half. Shermetta taking it in from 1 yard out. Made it 33-0. And then Matt Koziak with the best sticky shower he's ever going to have.
Great tie.
Gosh, I forgot to wear that tie again. Big win for Mona Shores. 47-26, clinching their first playoff berth in school history. Go back out now to Muskegon, where Brett Bakita is standing by. What a huge win for this program and for Matt Koziak here, Brett.
No doubt about it, guys. And let's rewind back to last year. Let's not forget Muskegon Mona Shores. Everyone thought, well, that would be the year. They started the season at 4-1, and then what do? They lost their last 4 games, finished 4-5, didn't even have a winning record, let alone making the playoffs. So now you have guys back like Asante Brown, Marquand Sargent that you saw in the highlights, Tyree Jackson at quarterback, with a chip on their shoulder, along with their head coach Matt Koziak, who wanted to get to the playoffs for the first time in school history. And the excitement, the emotions, I caught up with Coach afterwards, were jubilant.
Well, it's just, it's almost like you couldn't have written a better book. You know, this is the Team 51 this year, and you know, since the playoffs began, we haven't had a team qualify, and we knew we were going to get it. We knew we were going to get it, but to do it on homecoming, you know, we sent out a mass email to all alum that have played football here. I think it was 1,200 emails or something like that, saying, you know, come be a part of this. So to be able to do that at homecoming and have people come back out and see guys that have played here, or you know, I just shook a man's hand of the first team ever here. Last name was Fry, and it's magical. I don't know how else to describe it. It's awesome.
How about the kids and their preparation this week, being so close to a goal and looking at what happened with Reese Puffer and Zeeland East last week and saying, okay, they're not going to have Spencer Vinian, but yet we got to go after this.
For sure. I mean, you watch them on film, they lose Spencer Vini, who's, you know, one of the best players in the state of Michigan, and to have kids step up, you know, I don't know his name, but 28 was an unbelievable running back. He creased us, we couldn't catch him. And so we knew, you know, this team had only lost 2 regular season games in the last 3.5 years, and they've never lost back. Well, I'm sorry, 2009 is the last time they lost back-to-back games. So we knew it was going to be difficult. I really like the way our kids responded from the get-go. You know, we kind of jumped out on them, 33-0. They got us right before half, and then to score on that big play with Marquand Sajner right before half, you kind of had the feeling that this was meant to happen tonight.
Talk about Asante Brown, a senior, Sargent, a senior. They had big games, but the growing up of your quarterback, you're seeing it every week now in junior Tyree Jackson.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel bad for him because I'm harder on him than anybody. I expect him to make the right reads every time. I expect him to make the right throws every time. But you said it. He has grown up every single week. You know, last week he rushed for 100 yards, which I never thought would happen. We knew he could throw the ball. I thought he was spot on tonight. And then, Asante Brown and Marquand Sargent are two of the, in my opinion, two of the best players in the state of Michigan. When they get the ball in their hands, they can make stuff happen. I mean, Marquand turned an 8-yard pass into a 55-yard pass with his athletic ability. So it's nice to have those kids with a kid that can throw them the ball and get them the ball when we need to.
So, guys, here's the story. Goal number 1, the playoffs accomplished. Now, goal number 2, a conference crown. They've got Reese Puffer here next Friday. Reese Puffer's got to play Shores yet and at Muskegon with the Big Reds in Week 9. And, of course, both Muskegon and Reese Puffer going into conference play unbeaten yet. So, Shores needs some help, guys.
All right, thank you, Brett. Third quarter underway here on Blitz, which means we still got plenty of highlights, reaction, and analysis coming your way. We are so close to seeing the highlights from Caledonia and Lowell in our Blitz battle. That's after the break. Red Arrows trying to pass yet another test from that always tough OK White.
And later, we're going to check in on our Blitz top 10. 5 of the teams ranked this week played on the road. Who won? Who lost? We'll tell you. Blitz. We'll be right back.